How's it going, everyone? Good to see everyone here. I'm just gonna pull this up on my phone so that I can make sure that it's actually going well and I can see everything. Let me know if the audio sounds okay so far. I'm switching it up. I'm standing up today as opposed to sitting down, but we have this desk that moves up and down here. Kind of an interesting day, and I'll pull up WeBull here so that we can take a look at some different stocks, but we're seeing this continuous move over from the more speculative over to indexes or bigger companies. And it's interesting. I think it's really towards bigger companies because it's really the hedge funds, I think, moving money. I think a lot of retail traders are going heavier and heavier on some of these more risky investments. But that's where doubling down on companies you like actually should help over time because you're getting cheaper prices, but doesn't help for people that don't have money to invest either right now. So we have it's interesting. I have only a few stocks that are actually up today in this portfolio. We have Conversion Labs, Coinbase, and Disney. Going over here, I'll pull it up so you guys can see it too. There's just not a lot green today in the high growth market, but I want to talk about my altcoin investment here in a second too. So we have Workhorse, which is up 15%. I forgot why that was that they're up. I read something about it, but I don't think there's much news really there. I think it got an upgrade or something on their ability to produce electric vehicle vans or something. But really, I'm not interested in Workhorse until they up deliveries. That's the big thing for me. I need to see them actually make deliveries. We have Conversion Labs, which has been destroyed. My second worst investment of all time. But it's up today because they respond to a short seller report, basically saying that it's all BS, which right now, that just makes them high risk, high reward, right? So now they have the chance at, possibly getting up to where they were before, which would be like a 3.5x from here. But it's going to take a lot. They need to produce numbers, and I think they'll do well over time. I still have my investment. I actually added a little bit more today after they reported or refuted that short seller report, but I didn't add a lot. It's still like I just don't want to put too much more into it because it's risky, right? Coinbase, I like Coinbase a lot. I think they're gonna outperform what a lot of people think. If you look at the analyst expectations on Coinbase too, it's actually pretty high. They have pretty high targets for them. And then I think the lowest one's like 390, and then there's some at 500. And then down the line, we have some green here, but then look at all this red. It's just not pretty. ZOM, I'm not invested in. ZOM, I've never been invested. GIC, I'm not invested in. BNGO's been taking hits left and right. I actually did a video on penny stocks on the main channel if you haven't seen that yet. BioLace, I don't have. Ascensia Surgical, I don't have. CleanSpark, I have. And honestly, I want to go heavier on CleanSpark and Voyager. Thing is, I'm so heavy in crypto because I have 30% of my portfolio or so in Ethereum and Bitcoin combined, and then I have CleanSpark, Voyager, and Coinbase now. So I'm pretty heavy on crypto, where I'm bullish long term too on crypto, but if it does go down, that will hurt. I'm not planning on selling these, but I do want to talk about this. So I put on the thumbnail, obviously, that I'm going and buying altcoins. We've had a huge surge in Dogecoin recently. Obviously, it's gone up to insane levels. Really interesting that my friend actually wrote me because we were talking about Dogecoin last night and how it was like we were talking about whether it was a meme or not. And crypto in general, he's not someone that really talks about the stock market, doesn't really know much about the stock market. He hasn't started investing yet because he's getting his master's. And we talk about it, and he sent me that picture. If you haven't seen it on my Instagram, he sent me a picture. He bought Dogecoin 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago now, September 2018. He bought it at, I think it was 0.006 per coin. And he bought like 70 cents worth, unfortunately. So he's up now, what, like it was up 48 or 4,100% yesterday. But I think he's up now like 6,000%. Like what you want to do with your entire portfolio, like in your lifetime, like you invest when you're 20, and then hopefully by the time you're 60, you're up like that much in an index fund. And he did that in 2 years in Dogecoin, but he put less than $1 in it. So now he's got like $50 or something, $40. Really funny. I don't even know how he heard about it back then, but I did make an investment. So I wanted to try out Voyager. I own Voyager, the stock. It's in around $20 now. It's come down from about 30 down to 20. And at this point, I'm thinking about adding more. But again, I'm pretty highly concentrated in crypto, which I wasn't at all. I don't think I owned anything before this year. So I've had some nice gains on it, but I wanted to look at Voyager and actually test out the app, because I think it is important to actually know what you're buying. So I downloaded it last night, put in all my information. Usually, with these apps, especially on your phone, I want to do it online, but they don't even have an online. You can't even set it up online. You can't log in online. You can't do anything. It's all on the app, I believe. So I put in my information. Took maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, honestly. Like just name, address, phone number, email, social security number. I had to take a picture of my license, just like a lot of these apps, especially the newer ones. And got done with it. And they said, okay, it will take about 30 seconds to approve me. Took like 30 seconds and I was done. I didn't see if I could deposit last night, but I deposited today and my money was available within a minute, less than that. So it signed me up through Plaid and I could get into my bank account. I just typed in my bank account information, one of my smaller accounts, and then I transferred over $500. So if you're in the Patreon, you know that I put $500 in, and I put it in the 5 largest cryptocurrencies by market cap. So the thing is, with Voyager, they're one of the only apps that allows you to trade Dogecoin at this point. Even Coinbase doesn't allow you to trade Dogecoin at this point. So that's where it gets really interesting to me. I mean, think about the volume yesterday on Dogecoin. Like I forgot what it is, because you can actually see it on Coinbase, I want to say. Or you can, I forgot what I was looking at yesterday. You could actually see the volume. Okay, it's this CoinDesk. Volume today was $61 billion, which is huge. All right. I don't know if we can pull up the 1 week or how we would see that on here, but the volume is huge. It's only on a few apps. So it's only on a few apps. Voyager's one of them. I'm sure they made a lot of money from this yesterday, from actually people trading Doge on their platform. And I downloaded the app, put the money in, $500. I have 10 different positions. Litecoin is actually doing the best for me. So I put $50 in 10 different coins, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. So maybe I'll go by market cap if I can do that. It doesn't show me on the screen, but so I have Litecoin, Chainlink, Stellar, Uniswap, Cardano, Bitcoin, Tether, Ethereum, DOT, and Dogecoin. Dogecoin is doing the worst. It's at $46. But something that I noticed that was interesting is automatically I put $500 in. I had 496 after the fees went through. So I paid just short of 1%, I believe, in fees. However, I think that is actually interesting for them. Obviously, that's a risk as people try to reduce fees over time. But the thing is, with Voyager, they hold more coins than just about anyone else, including Coinbase. They hold more coins than Coinbase, and a lot of them are interest bearing. So that's where it's really interesting. I've tried out Coinbase, BlockFi. I have almost all of my money in BlockFi, and then Voyager. But Voyager does pay interest rates. So if I can actually pull that up, I could see it yesterday, but I'm not used to the app yet. So right now, I get 6.25% on Bitcoin, 5.25 on Ethereum, 5.25 on Cardano, 8% on Polkadot or Dot, 2% on Dogecoin, 5.5% Chainlink, and then you can go down the list, but you can get up to 9% or so on some of these. If you guys want, there is a link down there. I think you have to deposit $100 and you get like $25 of Bitcoin for free. I know someone asked me for that as soon as I said that I bought altcoins on Voyager. You have to be in the US, I believe. But anyways, this is increasing my conviction on Voyager. The app actually looks really cool. I don't know. Let's see if I can show you. Hopefully that shows you there. I can see it. 1 second. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Like it's pretty easy to use. And I haven't withdrawn money yet, but I want to try this out. I guess I could have put in $100 or something, but I am writing this off, not touching it. I'm assuming that it's going to be gone the next time I look at it, and I don't want to sell it for, decades. I'm just going to let it ride. It's a small enough amount. I realize that it's really speculative, but it's less than 1% of my portfolio, a good amount less than 1%. So I'm just going to let this sit here. Some of it's in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So those I write off as an actual like investment in crypto. The other altcoins, I don't know how I feel, but that's why I bought 10 different altcoins there. So, or 8 different altcoins. They also pay an interest rate. So it's going to be about 3.5% interest overall. So I don't think that is too bad, honestly. So even if it stayed the same, it's like a dividend paying stock, but I mean, obviously very different. I shouldn't even say that, honestly, because it's so different and so speculative. But again, like let me show my screen again. And I need to remember to actually drink this coffee because I always forget. I get too into talking. They are growing revenue so much. I know a lot of people talk about Big, B-I-G-G. And the interesting thing about Big is, and I hadn't really researched it, and I think I have this right. I just have researched it a little bit. They make a lot less than Voyager, like significantly less. I forgot what their market cap is, but it was really high when I looked at it because I think they had like, I want to say 3 million in revenue in a month or something like that. The difference is they actually hold Bitcoin, I believe. So I know a lot of people talked about them, and there's something to be said for that, right? I think they hold a significant amount of Bitcoin to the point where I was like, okay, this is a decent percentage of the market cap right here. So that's something interesting to think about. But if we look at Voyager, they have been growing revenue so much. So this last month, they didn't actually talk about how much revenue they had because they've been giving out these updates. They talked about total deposits this last month. This month here, if we go back to a different news update, this was around 20 million, I believe, in revenue. Now they had more deposits, about 1.5 times as much. They have about 1.5 times as much principal value traded. So that would lead me to think that they probably have about $30 million in revenue this last, just in March. And that kind of makes sense, right? I paid about 1% in fees. This is about $2.5 billion worth. So if we take 1/100th of that, that's about $25 million. So add a couple other fees on top of that. I don't know, people using margin or something like that. That's probably about $30 million, especially when we consider the principal value traded was about 16 or 1.6 billion here. They made 20 million in revenue. So that's what, 25% increase over that. So it's 1.25% of the principal value traded. Breaking down that math just in my head here. So about 1.25%. So, or 1.25%. So 1.25%, this would be 32.5, I believe, 32,500,000. And that's just in 1 month that they increased by 50%. So that's where this gets so interesting, right? They grew revenue. They doubled it, 2.5x'd it really from January to February, did another 50% here. if you start thinking a couple of months out, and that's where it gets risky, right? With like Coinbase or Voyager, the numbers get crazy when you look a couple months out if they can keep up this level of trading. And I am assuming there are more people trading on these than ever. I mean, think about Dogecoin. How much coverage is it getting right now? It's getting a ton of coverage right now. It's getting more people looking at it than ever. It's being valued at 40 cents, something like that. It went, or 37 cents. It was crazy yesterday because it had gone up 50% when I did a video on it. And then it went up 100% since last night. And it's gone up more than that in the meantime. It was up at like 45 cents or something like that. So there are people becoming literal millionaires off this that bought it. Even like if you bought $100,000 worth of it a month ago, you have to time it out because there's probably times when it was up and down, but you could probably be a millionaire if you bought 100K worth a month ago, 2 months ago, after probably it crashed after the Super Bowl because Elon didn't do his commercial. But it's interesting. I'm cautious about this because of my allocation towards crypto, but man, they're growing revenue really quickly. Even if we just take them at this run rate for the year, it's not a bad price to sales ratio for what this is and how quickly it's growing, I should say. Obviously, if this was a normal blue chip company or one that wasn't growing, it would be riskier. But Voyager offers something that a lot of other apps don't, which is an interest rate, and they offer a lot of different cryptocurrencies. So like with this, I'm not going to move this money off of this platform. Why would I move it? It's on here. It's making money from interest. Now, hopefully people that start this actually continue trading, because if people just put money on it and sit on it and don't trade, that's not going to be good for the company. I don't think they make any money at that point unless they probably lend it out just like BlockFi does. So they could still make an interest rate. That's how BlockFi makes theirs. And they're not really a trading platform, but they still offer really good interest rates. So that's where it gets a little bit interesting when they start lending it out to other institutions, because obviously they make money from that. But yeah, that's where I'm sitting now. I'm writing this off as a total loss, but I want to see where it goes over time. It was kind of two birds with one stone, where I could do some research on Voyager, but I could also throw some money at altcoins. And again, it's something that I'm willing to risk. I don't think these are all going down to zero. I think that's pretty unlikely too. So it's a balancing act. But let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Let's take a look. Feel free to leave some questions in here too. I'll probably go here for like another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes if we have some questions. Bridget, glad you're alive. Thanks. I appreciate that. How's it going, Ryan? Good to see you. I'm doing pretty well today. Olam, I'm doing okay. So this morning was pretty rough. I mean, just seeing red a day after day, it kind of gets to you after a while. But the thing is, as long as we're not stuck in this in-between where it's red, but it's not red enough, I'm okay with it. Like if we go really red, I'll be pumped. If all our stocks go down 20%, I'll be happy because we're getting really low prices then. It's just the constant bleeding, or like the up and down, right? Where you think it's going to go up, the SPACs are going to go up, or the high growth are going to go up, and then they come right back down. We're seeing levels kind of close to the March crash on some of these stocks, but it's more attractive long term then. So I'm doing all right. I was a little bit not shaken up, but I was a little bit off this morning because of that. But as time goes on, we saw some stocks turn up, and some others turn down. So yeah, Neo's green today, nice. I saw they were up before, but I don't think they're up too much. Good to see you. Any thoughts on Skills? So Skills I looked into like a month ago. Let's see where it's at now. I looked into it when Dead Inside was doing all those videos on it. Yeah, man, this one's been hit as hard as any other stock, really. It's down 66% from highs. It was up at 43, 44, and now it's down to 14.78. It gets more and more attractive as time goes on, but it's a $6 billion market cap. I thought it was smaller than that. A lot of people are saying steer clear of it. Of course, everyone wants to say steer clear of it when it's down significantly. That's always how it happens. Like all the publications or all the websites say that. Actually, here, let me share my screen for a second. This is funny. I hate this when websites have multiple authors. Here, Investor Place, I feel like is one of the worst at it. Skills stock a cautious buy after last month's sell-off. Then today, steer clear of Skills amid insider selling and stock offering. Okay, which one is it? Like they should have. I know that they're different authors, but it's just annoying when you get different points of view from the same website. I probably have to dive deeper into them. I think it is interesting, and it might be a good play on mobile gaming. I'll have to do more research into it because obviously there's a reason it's selling off, but it might just be because the whole market's selling off. I just want to make sure their balance sheet's okay, that they're actually going to continue to grow, because I know there's some people saying no, it's because they had a banner year with the pandemic. So we'll see. A lot of people saying, hey, how's it going? Appreciate you guys being here. Can we get this in Canada? I don't believe Voyager allows you to download if you're in Canada. I honestly don't know what you can use in Canada. I don't think Coinbase works in Canada either. Like there's just so many regulations behind it, and these companies are Coinbase might actually, because they're so large, but a lot of these companies are like just starting up here. Heck, but Voyager, let me check. Let me see if you can use Voyager, because there's got to be some. Yeah, so I think you can use Voyager, because I think it's on the Canadian stock exchange, securities exchange, because it's on our OTC, and then you can buy it in Canada. So I'm assuming you could. I don't know why you couldn't. Okay, it says Voyager will be expanding into Canada as the first part of international growth. Stay tuned for future announcements. And I'll see when this was. Yeah, I don't think it says on here when this was, but I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can. Again, there is a link in the description of the video if you guys want to try it out. But again, I think there are just going to be so many people that are interested in this now, especially with Doge. Like, even if you don't buy Doge, I think a lot of people will just be signing up to have it ready. Like, to have a platform ready to buy Dogecoin or to buy these altcoins. BlockFi is great in that they're more established and they pay an interest rate. Then there's Coinbase, which is the most established but doesn't pay an interest rate, I don't believe. The reason I actually started using Coinbase is because my brother-in-law told me that I could watch videos and get like a $2 or $3 bonus in crypto. I should have just let all the cryptos sit there, but I think I withdrew them last summer. Like I remember being at my girlfriend's cottage and just sitting on the deck and watching like a short video and then taking a little quiz. Like it's one question and you make $2, $3, and it takes like 1 minute. So for some people, they're like, no, I'm not even gonna set it up. But for me, I think I made like 50 or $100 on it, and it barely takes any time. You can even download it. That's interesting. Huh. Is Voyager an exchange too? Can you set a trailing stop limit to sell your coins? I'm not sure if you can. I'm not sure how you can do that. I don't know if. Let me see if I can set anything, or if I can just buy and sell. If I say sell, yeah, you can set limits on it. That's nice. Yeah, you can set limits. You can do market sells too. Anyone know what's going on with CLSK? Man, that's a good question, because it is looking cheaper and cheaper every day. Now, to be fair, CLSK did not fall down the day that Riot and Mara went down 15%. Like CLSK was pretty much sideways. However, I think if I'm doing the numbers right, and other people that are in the space, I have someone in my Patreon that keeps on talking about it. They have their own YouTube channel now too. And that's like one of their largest holdings. They have a lot of money in it, like more than my portfolio just in CLSK. and it's getting more and more attractive. Like, I don't know if it's just going to take them actually having the numbers presented where we come out with Q1 numbers. They mine, let's say 3 Bitcoin a day, 2 to 3 Bitcoin a day. Let's say 2.5, because that makes the numbers a little bit easier. And that's $150,000 worth of Bitcoin a day for 90 days. They come out and they say, hey, we beat last year's revenue in Q1. We got 15 million in revenue just from that side of our business. Let's say they don't get anything else on the other side of their business, but they have 15 million in revenue for Q1. Their expectations were like they had them at like 30 million or something like that. It was just stupidly low, I thought, even at the time. And then Bitcoin doubled since the beginning of the year. But they come out, they hit those numbers. Their margin's really high because it only costs 8,000 or 7,000 to mine a bit per Bitcoin. So they come out, it costs them, they're at like a 90% margin or something on that. They spent a lot of money on the miners this last quarter, but they're going to be mining so much Bitcoin. They're talking about 6 to 10 Bitcoin a day, and they just secured more miners to really hit that number. And they want to continue this in the future. Every crypto company wants to continue to expand. So they have money set aside for expenses, but this Bitcoin is going to be really profitable for them. And they're holding on to Bitcoin at the same time. Like the last update they gave us, they sold 18 Bitcoin, I want to say, and then they kept 41. So in the first, I want to say 30 days or so, or 40 days, I think it was the first 40 days of mining, they sold 1/3, kept 2/3. So as time goes on, assuming Bitcoin stays about the same or goes up a little bit, it's going to get more and more attractive, because if they hold on to part of their Bitcoin, I'm thinking, okay, they mine 10 Bitcoin a day for 365 days. They have 3,600 Bitcoin. Let's say they sell half of it. Then they'll have 1,800 Bitcoin. 1,800 Bitcoin times 65,000. That's 117 million in Bitcoin. Like, they're not going to have to, sure, they probably will raise cash because it makes sense because they're so profitable, but they're going to have so much cash to reinvest in themselves just from their own crypto mining. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are just cautious of Bitcoin miners and the whole Bitcoin market. And big money hasn't flowed into CLSK yet. People aren't willing to buy it yet. Okay. Someone's saying safe Galaxy. Don't miss this hidden gem to rocket launch. Huh. Never heard of it. How do you feel about skills? I hit on that a minute ago. Any thoughts on FTNT? I've never heard of that, I don't think. Let me see if I know it. Fortinet, cybersecurity company. No, I don't really actually know that much about the cybersecurity sector. It has done well, though. Over the last 6 months, it's about doubled. I haven't heard about it, though. Okay. What do I think about these penny stocks? So honestly, none of those are ones I'm invested in. I did a video on penny stocks earlier today. The thing that you need to do with penny stocks, I don't want to give away the whole video if you guys want to check it out, but you have to really look at the balance sheets now, because these stocks have gone down a lot, and it's going to be a lot harder for them to raise cash. So if they weren't well capitalized, they're going to have to dilute shares a lot more than they were doing before. Than they would have had to dilute before. So be careful with these. Just make sure you're looking at how much they've raised, because I don't even know if you can look like at Seeking Alpha or even at last year's numbers, because they could have raised between then. Like a lot of the penny stocks went up in January and February, and that's when they diluted shares. So BNGO did that, Sens did that, NNDM did better than anyone at that. So just be careful. Down 50% in your portfolio. Yeah, I hear you. I honestly don't know how much mine is down, because I keep on adding more cash to it, and I keep on buying the dip. So I mean, it would be misleading to say I'm down 50% because I've added a lot. I'm not down 50% because I wasn't that risky. I don't have that much allocated towards penny stocks and stuff, but back in March, I bought a lot of SPACs that are around $10. So those are actually looking like a good investment right now because they haven't moved. Like red days are red days, but they're 1% down, which is nice, but it's just not a lot of upside at this point. But if money flows back in, then that's great. Thoughts on XL Fleet? I haven't been a big fan of it. I know that it's gotten hit hard though. Let's see where it's at today. Yeah, they're at $6.37. That's so hard to see because they were up so much. I never invested in them, but they were up to $32. Now they're down 80%. Now they're under $1 billion market cap too. It's tough because XL Fleet will install up to 1,000 chargers in UBS area or arena. Yeah, so I think they had a short report too. Did they have that? They have lawsuits filed against them. I haven't looked at too much since they announced a SPAC though. I did a video on it. Can I do a full DD on Matterport with all their financials and investor presentation? Yeah, I might do that. The thing is, I think I already did that. I don't know if I gave a specific video for it. It might have been like half of a video where I covered that and another one because there was a lot going on when they announced it. But I have gone over their presentation before. If I don't do that though, so I might do that. I have been investing a lot in them though, a good amount over the last couple months. Meet Kevin has some really good videos on them too. If you want to see it now, just to like reiterate your own thesis on it. But he's really bullish on it. I'm bullish on it too. I think it's very much a long-term play though, because they have so much growth ahead of them and they have so many use cases. Okay, with CLSK, how does the holding Bitcoin show up on the balance sheet? That's a good question. I haven't looked at too many companies that have had it because when Tesla had it on their balance sheet, or when they announced that they bought it, I didn't actually look at the SEC documents for them because it was posted everywhere. I'm not sure how that would show up on a balance sheet yet. Like, I mean, you could look at the SEC documents, or if you just do the shortened version and you just look at what they have, what they like announce, right? When they give you like the first quarter financials or something on their news, that might be an easier way of seeing it, but I'm not sure how it would show up on the documents actually. Is SFT or SFTW still a hold? Is it a forgotten SPAC? I think a lot of people have forgotten about it. Honestly, I've been reconsidering some SPAC holdings recently, but I'm not selling them now. So SFTW, I don't believe merges until July. I still like the company. In this environment though, it's making me a bit nervous because there are companies, SPACs, that I like that are still going down significantly, or they're stuck at $10. And I think as soon as they SPAC, they might fall down more because that's where a lot of the protection is. So I'm cautious. I might trim my position on SFTW and treat it like a penny stock where I am almost forgetting about it. Like I don't want to fully forget about it because I want to know if there's good news or bad news that comes out so where I can invest more, but it might be put in that same like high risk, high reward. I'm not going to touch it unless something drastically changes on it. Because right now I do have a large allocation. I think it's about 2 to 2.5% of my portfolio in SFTW because I fully realize over the next couple months, there could be a change where people move money back to SPACs and it could easily go up to 10, 12, or it could easily go up to $12, $13, $14. It could also stay where it is now. I think it could go up higher than that too, but in the environment we're in right now, if it merged today or tomorrow, I don't think it would go up afterwards. I think a lot of people would be nervous about it. Now, I think they will probably do well over the long term still, which is why I'm still okay holding that position in them. And they're not valued as high as some of the other SPACs that were being valued like 6 months ago. I believe they're right around $1 billion or 1.1 billion. So I think it's less risky, but when you look at their price to sales, it's still really high. Like I think it's 50 price to sales, which is fine when the environment's hot. But now people aren't interested in 50 PE or PS, price to sales. Most of us lost all our gains from last year and down a lot. All the red the last couple months has been depressing. How much conviction you have that we are clear in the long run? So I think it totally depends on what stocks you have. If you've invested in companies that are high risk, high reward, or I guess high risk meme stocks, then I'd be more cautious. I think a lot of us though have done some amount of research on on the higher risk, high reward stocks, but that's where allocation and diversification is key. So, investing in $10 SPACs right now isn't the worst idea, assuming that they are companies you actually like, and they're months, especially if they're months away, like that reduces your risk. But I think, sorry, that's kind of a tangent, but that's kind of what I was saying before too. Diversification is key. If you have 10 different stocks and you have ZOM, TRXC or whatever it is now, BNGO, SENS, TTOO, whatever else, like whatever hot penny stocks there are, and that's all you have, I would be nervous at that point. I mean, I've had that the whole time where I said that I only have a certain allocation. But if you're like investing in quality companies with strong management teams, and you're well diversified, 10, 20 companies, maybe even more, I think I wouldn't be nervous. Like the way I think about it is everyone gets nervous, the most amount of nervousness right before it turns around. Like as companies continuously go down, they're better and better. They're just better and better values. So if you feel strongly about the companies, I wouldn't be worried. If you're like, oh yeah, I just bought them because someone told me to, or someone said that they were buying them and I never did research and I'm not really sure, and I bought, like I said, a bunch of penny stocks, I would be cautious about it. But yeah, I lost a lot of my gains from last year too. Would it not be under assets? Yeah. Let's pull this up. Let's see if I can find how they would put it. So yeah, it might be under like other assets or something, because it's not cash and cash equivalents, obviously. And maybe this is something that would be better off screen too, because my computer's loading slowly because of the stream. Yeah, we can just take a look at this at another time. But yeah, I don't think it'll be too hard to find, honestly. Yeah, I would just pull up their assets and see what looks off, honestly. Like, where do they have more cash than they should, or more assets than they should? What's my thought on FRX, the Beachbody merger? Company has been around for 20 years. I did a video on it a while ago, and gave out my whole idea on it. I forgot exactly when it was. If you look up when FRX was announced, I did my video like that day or the day after. So that was really right at the beginning of when the SPAC market fell, I think. Let's see. FRX stock price, because I think that one's been hit pretty hard too. Yeah, they're under $10. They went up to $15.50, and I made the video saying I wasn't interested in it, and gave out my reasoning. But yeah, I'm not super interested in that. What's my thought on SPCE and their target price? Okay, let's pull them up here. Sorry, it's going to be kind of trippy for a second while I switch over here. Let's go to tip ranks. I don't know what their target price is, but I sold out of SPCE a while ago. I didn't have a lot in it at the time, and that was part of the reason. And I was buying something else at the time too. SPCE is one of those ones though that it's either a $500 stock in 10 years or it's probably zero, unless they can find out some other way to use their business. It's really, like, I know that's a bigger company, but I see it as a great performing stock or a terrible performing stock. 57% upside. Yeah, so I think a lot of these just put numbers on it based on sentiment. Because I don't think you can really project out based on their numbers because they're really not doing much right now. Chamath obviously sold out. I think he got margin called. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. If you're looking for one that's in the space sector that you're either going to make, probably 50x on or lose everything, this is a good one. It's like the exact opposite of GNPK or Redwire, because Redwire, I think, is like a really value company in the space sector, while this is a really highly speculative investment. But there is more liquidity and there are more people invested in it. So I think it does reduce the risk a little bit in terms of price fluctuations. Dogecoin, is it too late to buy in? Great question. I bought some today, like I said, on Voyager, on the Voyager app to test Voyager. And yeah, I think I would not put in a large amount that you're not willing to lose. Like I put $50 in Dogecoin along with $50 in nine other altcoins. So I would not put in an amount that you're not willing to lose. But there are possible catalysts for them moving forward. Like I heard something about someone saying Tesla might actually allow people to buy Teslas with Dogecoin, just for the heck of it. If they did that, I think it would go up to $1. Honestly, I honestly think if they came out with that, it would go up to $1, at least where it is now. If it fell back down to 10 cents from 35 cents or wherever it's at now, it might be harder. It might get back up to like 50, 60 cents. But who am I to say? Like, there's a lot of money in it right now. Thoughts on TPGY and GHVI? I like both of them. I have to look at TPGY's numbers again because obviously they've fallen down a lot. They're at $15 per share. Originally, I ran them when they were $20 a share, and they were more attractive than ChargePoint at that point, where ChargePoint was. So I moved more of my money to TPGY from ChargePoint at the time. I obviously sold ChargePoint a little while ago. But I think if you're looking long term, you're looking at chargers. TPGY is one of the best ones. Someone else told me, what is it? There's another one that they were really interested in because they actually allow SNPR. They actually allow you to have advertising on the chargers, which I don't know if that's the hardest thing to integrate. Like if TPGY just said, okay, we're gonna start putting screens and advertising on our chargers, like at gas stations or, well, not gas stations, I guess, charging stations. But if they're like in a grocery store parking lot, like the grocery store could put ads for specific products that are maybe high margin on those chargers. So it's another revenue stream. GHVI, I think, is a great long-term play. When you think about it in the insurance business, it's crazy to think how much potential it has because everything in your house can be insured from that one device. They also have the mobile app too. I think there's just so much potential in it, especially when you start thinking about like, okay, there's Airbnb now, there's normal home insurance. There are different reasons to have insurance, and there's so many use cases for it moving forward. I think that one, kind of like Palantir, is like a 5-10 year hold, and it's going to do great. I don't want to say I guarantee because I am not a financial advisor, but I would bet money, and I am betting money that it's going to go up in the next few years, especially because anything can happen short term. Like we're seeing right now, so much money is flowing out of these higher growth companies, but long term, they're going to hit profitability and they're going to blow numbers out of the water, I think. Where do I see Bitcoin in the next year? I think it really depends on institutional investors. A lot of institutions are putting money in these cryptocurrencies that they weren't putting money in before. And if they continue to do that, if they add money to it, it's gonna push it over 100,000. The question is whether they do that or whether there's enough of a sell-off, a prolonged sell-off, that people are discouraged from doing it. Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, let's put $1 billion worth in Bitcoin when it's going up dramatically, and you don't want to be left behind. But if some of these more traditional companies are looking at it and it falls down to 50, 40, 30, I think that will reiterate their fears where they're saying, oh, it's just funny money. Like it's not real. We will have lost a lot of money, and then they'll feel like they're geniuses for not investing in it. But my guess is it will go up. I would say hit 100,000 this year if I had to put a number on it. It could go more. Some people are saying like 400K or something, but I don't think that's as likely. If it does, that's great. If it hits 500,000 and I still have like a following, I'll do a giveaway. I won't give away very much because I only have like a quarter of a Bitcoin, but I'll give away some money or something. So if it hits 500K, let's say in the next year, that's kind of a bad bet for everyone else though. Well, last couple of days, I know these last couple of days, April has told to be the best. Yeah. Who was that? Andre Jick said that April's the best month for stocks. Honestly, indexes are doing well. All the growth stocks, not so much. So you don't own ChargePoint. I heard your thesis about TPGY compared to ChargePoint, but it seems as if ChargePoint has a lot of potential still, even under Biden's infrastructure plan. Yeah, so I'm guessing you're not in the Patreon, which is fine. I moved money. I was really interested in GNPK. I was also really interested in adding to TPGY. So I sold out of ChargePoint and moved it over to those two companies. ChargePoint obviously went up a lot and then came back down. So there's still potential in ChargePoint because of the infrastructure plan, but TPGY I think has better numbers behind it now. ChargePoint honestly is about where I sold it now, I think too. So I could buy back in. I wanted less money in the chargers overall than I did before. I want to diversify a little bit more. So that was part of it too. Ooh, LFMD is up 16% now. Interesting. I added more to it today, so that worked out well. I figure a lot of the pain is from the short seller report. Ooh, now it's up 18%. A lot of the pain over the last couple of days has been from the short seller report. They refuted it, saying that it was BS. They went through some examples of why it was BS. Now it's up 18%. It was down to $8, a little bit lower than $8 earlier today. So it's actually up like 25% since then. I thought about buying more at 8, but I didn't want to catch the falling knife. So I bought it on the way up after they refuted the short seller report. Now it's up 18%. Still a big loss overall compared to where it was before, but still nice to see because I haven't sold any of it since I bought it. So I'm happy to see it go up. BNGO down 8% today. Should we buy it? Oh man. Check out the video on penny stocks on my second channel or on my first channel. BNGO, I want to be careful that I don't catch the falling knife on a lot of these penny stocks. Obviously, if you feel really strongly about these, great, go buy it. But I am cautious about adding too much to penny stocks in general. Like they're a small part of my portfolio. And even though they're a small part of my portfolio, I still have other risky stocks, right? Like these SPACs or anything that's related to SPACs are getting hit hard right now. So obviously long term, if you keep on putting money in these stocks that are down, that's great if they turn around. But I'm always cautious about diversification. So if you want to get into BNGO and you've been waiting a long time, or you feel really strongly about it, that's great. BNGO is a harder one to understand though, because right now they don't really have sales or they don't have much in sales. So they need to be able to convert all their technology to actually getting sales. How about Palantir? I like Palantir. I want to add more. I'm just going through. I just met with my accountant the other day, 2 days ago. So I'm fixing what I have, or I'm figuring out what I have to pay in taxes, and I have to pay taxes 3 months in a row because I have quarterlies, and then I have quarterlies are weird too because they're only 2 months apart for the first 2 quarters, and then I have last year's taxes. So I have to figure out how much I have to pay. And I'm just not investing as much as I want to right now because I have to deal with that. And YouTube is just so irregular with income, whether it's ads or even Patreon. So I'm just cautious because I don't want to be caught with my pants down or anything. What's my thought on HOL? Hold. I like it long term. If you're bullish on space, which I am bullish, I think it's one of the best companies to hold in there. So that's just my opinion. I think we might get off here, guys. If you haven't seen what I was doing with altcoins, you can check out the early parts of the video. Pretty excited about it. Killed two birds with one stone, as they say. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that too. And I might make a video on the main channel about, I might make a video on the main channel about the altcoins. I haven't decided yet. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.